Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel. I have another baby mini album to make with you guys, and I did share this in a previous video. This is my Sweet Baby Boy mini album. This is an 8x10 mini album. It is a waterfall style with one signature page. Super easy to make. I'm going to open it up and just kind of share with you. Now I have limited space that I'm going to be working with today, but hopefully you guys will be able to follow me without any problems. So you have waterfall for pictures on the inside and front and back covers, and then you have the one signature page that flips open with a pocket on the back in the center. So if you're interested in making this book with me, just please keep watching. Okay, so first I'm just going to start by going through a list of supplies and tools that you will need to create this album. So you're going to need some medium weight chipboard. You will need some 65-pound cardstock. You'll need some 110-pound cardstock. You will need double-sided adhesive or liquid glue. You will need, if you want to add a magnet, which I am, magnets. I like to use my We Are Memory Keepers scraper tool to help burnish down my double-sided adhesive, and flaps, a bone folder, some sort of a pick tool, and this one I like to use by We Are Memory Keepers. You're also going to need either a paper trimmer or a paper cutter, and I like my guillotine paper cutter because it cuts my papers and also my chipboard with no problem. But paper trimmers will cut the chipboard as well. You might have to run the slicer through a couple times to cut all the way through, but it will work. And you'll also need a scoring board. And what you'll also need, but it's not required for this video, is whichever kind of designer paper or cardstock you want to decorate your album. So let's go ahead and get into it. Okay, so first we want to create the base of the book. So for the base, you are going to need to cut 2 pieces of medium weight chipboard at 10.5 by 8.5. This will be your front and your back cover. And for the spine piece, that's going to be 10.5 by 2 inches. So I'm using 2 pieces of 65-pound weight cardstock, and these are 12 by 12, and I'm going to join these 2 pieces together, and this is what we're going to use to cover our cover pieces and our spine pieces. So I'm going to use double-sided tape to join these 2 pieces together. So this is 1/2 inch double-sided tape, and I'm just going to start at the corner of one of my sheets of 12 by 12 cardstock, and I'm just going to run that piece down to the end. You may not be able to see everything because of I have a small space that I'm working on. So I like to use this tool to just burnish my tape down. So next, what I like to do is take my pick tool here, and this is a tip that I got from Rosa Kelly Scrapbooking. So you'll just take just a small piece of the backing off your tape and flip it back. This way you can line up your cardstock where you need it to go before you press it down. So I'm going to let that fall, and I'm going to go ahead and line that up and press it down. Then you'll just pull that tab down and adhere that cardstock. Okay? So this is what we are going to use to cover our chipboard pieces. Okay? So this is how you're going to lay your chipboard pieces out on your cardstock, you want to leave about 1/8 of an inch gap between the spine and the cover pieces so that your book can close and open with no problems. Alright, so to do this you can use liquid glue or you can also use double-sided tape. So just for time's sake, I am going to use my liquid adhesive right here, and I'm just going to apply that liberally all over the back piece of my spine piece, and I will lay this piece down first. And when you're using liquid glue, you just want to make sure you burnish your pieces down. This will give you a little bit of wiggle room to move your pieces into place where you need them to go and straighten them up before your glue dries. So I'm just sticking that right down the center. And then I'm going to take this and just run it right across there to just burnish it down. You want to make sure that's down, you don't get any puckles or bubbles. Okay? So then I'm just going to take one of the larger pieces, and I'm also going to add glue all over the back of it. And we're going to do the same thing, only this time we're going to make sure we leave just 1/8 of an inch. And I'm using art glitter glue. This is one of my favorite glues to use for most of my crafting. I like to make cards and these books. This gives you just enough room to move things in position where you need them. So I am just going to eyeball it. If you want to use a ruler, you can definitely use a ruler. But I'm just going to line it up as best as I can and press it down, just leaving about 1/8 of an inch. Okay, I'm going to also burnish this down as well. Okay, and once this glue dries, it dries well. You won't have any problems. Well, I haven't had any problems. Okay, we're going to do the other side. Sorry about that background noise you hear. I have 2 cup turners going because I make glitter epoxy tumblers as well. And so that's that buzzing noise that you hear, if you can hear it at all. But so sorry in advance about that. Okay, so this as well, I'm just going to line it up. And just press it down. And burnish it down. Alright, so this is what we have. Okay, so we want to leave about an inch around the perimeter, because that's what we're going to use to fold over our chipboard pieces. So I'm just going to take my scissors and I'm just going to clip a little bit of this off. I'm going to try to leave about 1 inch. Alright, and I'm going to flip this around so you can see what I'm doing, and I'm going to do the same thing to this side. Okay. Alright, so next I am going to gently prepare my cardstock here to fold over. And this helps to reduce cracking of your paper. So you just want to gently just kind of fold up and press just gently all the way around on all 4 sides. And this is just molding your paper, getting your paper ready to bend. Sometimes if you don't do this and you just go right in to fold your paper over, you might get cracking. So we're doing that to all 4 sides. Okay, now we want to either add glue or double-sided adhesive to all the way around. And I like to use double-sided adhesive for this part. You can still use glue, liquid glue if you like. So I'm just going to start down this edge here and just add my double-sided tape. And you don't really have to go all the way to the end because I'm going to show you in a minute. We're going to clip the corners of this. I'm going to turn it around here, and I'm going to do this side as well. Okay, and then I'm also going to do the short sides. I know the angle is kind of weird because of my space that I have. I don't have that much desk space here. Alright, so you just want to make sure you burnish this down really well all the way around. So next, I just want to show you, you want to clip off the corner pieces, all 4 corners, but you want to leave about 1/8 of an inch. And if you want to get this right, you can either take a ruler and hold a ruler right here and cut, or you can just eyeball it. And I'm going to eyeball it. So I'm just going to take and cut this corner right here. And I just left that tiny bit right there. I don't know if you can see it, but it's a tiny bit that runs longer than the corner. That's the part you're going to kind of fold over just to cover your corner. So you want to do that for each corner. And if you all, anybody who's watching has made any mini albums before, you'll know probably what I mean when I say that. So. Alright, so next we are going to fold over our long sides first. So I'm just going to take my pick tool and I am going to take the backing off here and gently go ahead and fold that over. And I like to use this to just press it really well. So then I like to take my bone folder right here and I just like to push the corner of the very corner tip. I like to push that little tip in on both sides. Okay? And I'm going to do that on all sides before I take this part off. Okay, so now I'm going to take the backing off of the other long side. Bend that over and go ahead and press that down. Okay? Alright. Again, I just want to make sure I form this corners around before I pull the backing off and go ahead and adhere my sides. Just press that down, okay? And I just kind of like to take my bone folder around and just press down. Okay, and then I'm going to do the same thing for the other side. Push those corners in again. Okay, take the backing off, and then go ahead and bend over those flaps. Alright, so I have the base covered. So next I'm just going to gently take my scraper tool, or you can use your bone folder, and just barely just crease right where the natural space is between the spines and cover pieces. And this will help your book to close up better. So see, and it helps it to close without cracking. So that makes the base of our book. Okay, so next we are going to work on our hinge for our one signature page. So for this, you'll need a piece of 65-pound cardstock, and you'll want to cut that down at 9 3/4 by 4 1/2. Okay, so now you'll take out your scoreboard and you'll place the piece of cardstock that you just cut on your scoreboard with the 4 1/2-inch side against the top. Okay, so you're going to take your bone folder and you're going to score at 1 1/2. You're going to score at 2 1/4. You're going to score at 3. And you're going to score at 3 3/4. Okay. You really didn't have to make that last 3 3/4 score, but that's how I wrote it out. So I'm just going to go with it. Okay, so you have your score marks here, if you can see that. So you're not going to do anything with this first 1 1/2 inch, but you're going to take those 2 1/2-inch, first 1/2-inch pieces right there, and you're just going to fold those two together. Okay. So they're going to fold together to make a heel like that. Okay. And this is what you're going to use for your one hinge piece. So next you'll need 2 pieces of double-sided adhesive, or if you want to use liquid adhesive, you're just going to apply your adhesive right in here, and you're going to glue those two together. So I'm just going to use double-sided tape, and I'm going to apply that right in the inside under that heel on one side. And then I'm just going to peel off the backing, right? And then glue those two together. So in actuality, I think that last 3 3/4 side I could have probably left without scoring. It's fine though. Okay. Okay. So this makes our hinge piece. Let's see. Yeah, definitely. I could definitely do that. Yeah. Alright, so next you want to add double-sided adhesive on the back of your hinge piece. Or liquid glue, whatever you're going to use to adhere this down. We're going to go ahead and adhere this part down. And then we'll cover the inside covers. Yeah, I hope I didn't mess you guys up. I probably shouldn't have did that last score, 3 3/4 score, but we'll just keep going with it. It's gonna work out fine. Okay, so you just want to cover the whole back piece with your double-sided adhesive or your liquid glue. Okay, and the trick here is to get your one signature piece lined up in the middle of your 2-inch spine piece. So you want this to lie pretty much in the center. And before you adhere this down, if you want to, you can, I was going to say use that score line as a guide, but we don't want to do that. So what we want to do is we'll eyeball it and just try to get this lined up in the center. So if you have a pencil, you can actually make a little tick mark right up here to help you line this up. It's kind of hard to see with this big white flap. Or if you want to trim this down, you can do that. But I'm going to go ahead and peel off my back, and then we'll go ahead and get this laid down. And we'll just try to get it in the center of the spine as much as we can. I think when I originally made the album, I think I did it like this, but I believe I cut the flaps a little bit, so it's fine. Okay, so I know that this is pretty much the center right here of my spine, so I'm just going to grab the middle here and I grab the middle here and just eyeball it, but place it down right in the center. And then use my scraper tool to just burnish it down. So you just want to try to get it as straight and centered as possible, because we're going to use 2 pieces of cardstock to cover the inside, so it'll cover these 2 side flaps. Okay, so this is what is going to hold that one signature page. All right. Okay, so next we want to cut a couple of sheets to cover the inside of our albums. So let's see, I have my notes right here on the side, and let's see. I'm going to use I am going to use 2 pieces of heavyweight cardstock to cover the inside. You can use 65-pound if you like. I'm going to use 2 pieces to cover the inside of my album here. Okay, so I cut my 2 sheets at 8 1/4 by 10 1/4. Okay, so I'm just going to use these to cover the inside, front and back covers. Okay. So, but before we do that, we want to take our bone folder and just gently run down where the crease of the book is, where it folds. So you do that and just gently fold it up on both sides. and then gently fold it up. That way you'll know not to carry these inside covers over where your book is naturally going to crease, okay? So I'm just going to use liquid glue to put these pieces down. So and I'm going to go right before the crease. Yeah, right before the crease of the book. That's where I want this part to. That's where I'm going to lay this part down. So you can cut this piece a little bit longer if you want to cover a little bit more of that outside corner, but this is the way I like this one. So when you fold it up, it'll fold up like that with no problem. Just like that. Okay, we'll do the same thing for this one. Just adding glue all the way around here. Okay. I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to lay this down right before my crease. Just like that. And just burnish it down really good. Okay, so now we have our hinge and we have our book ready. So now we need to make our one signature page and our waterfall pieces, and that'll be it for this book. So I'll take a quick break and I'll be right back. Okay, so now it's time for us to put together our one base page. So for the base page, you are going to need 2 pieces of heavyweight cardstock that measures 8 by 10. And you're also going to need 2 pieces of heavyweight cardstock that measures 8 by 1. We are going to use these 2 pieces as an attachment mechanism to make our base page, okay? So once you cut your 8 by 1, you can move these to the side for now. Once you cut your 2 strips, that's 8 by 1, you want to grab your scoreboard and you want to place your piece on the scoreboard with the 1-inch side going across the top of your scoreboard. And you just want to score that at 1/2 inch. So you're going to score it right in half, which I've already done. And so then you want to add your double-sided tape on both sides of your score line. So you're going to fold those on the fold this piece on the score line, okay, just like that. And you're going to apply double-sided tape on each side of this piece, one over here and one over here, okay. And this is how you will attach your 2 pages together, okay. So I'm just going to take my pick tool, and this attachment piece will go at the top along the 8-inch side of your base page, okay. So I'm just going to go ahead and just pull back just a tab off of the backing off, okay. I'm going to move one piece, and I am going to just line this up at the top, at the very top. You don't want to go over, but you want to line it up right at the very top of that base page, and then you can pull your tab down and adhere. So you have this is like a hinge piece for you. It's going to be the connector piece. Okay, so you want to do the same thing. Go ahead and pull up just a tab, pull that back, okay, and you want to line up your pieces, press down, and then you can pull that tab and give it a press. So this is what you have. Okay, and then that other piece, you're going to do the same thing. So you're going to fold that where you made your score line. You're going to fold it in half. You can use your bone folder to help burnish that down. Apply your double-sided tape or your liquid adhesive. Okay, and you just want to pull a flap back. Okay. And you want to do the same thing. You want to line it up right at the very end. You just want these two pieces lined up directly on top of each other. And then you can pull that piece, pull that off, and then adhere that down. Okay? Same. So then when you flip it over, you got this. Okay? So it's going to make a pocket page. Okay? So you should have a pocket page just like this, and this is going to stick down on your hinge. Okay? So let's go ahead and grab our album and open it up. And I always just kind of like to test it out just to make sure my base page will fit on there. Open and close. Like that. So next you want to add double-sided adhesive on both sides of this flap, starting at the very top of your flap. Okay? So I'm going to grab my double-sided adhesive right here. And I don't have that much space, so I'm turning my book a little bit. But I'm going to start at the very top of that flap. The very top. Just like that. And I'm going to go all the way across the very top of that flap. I'm going to do the same thing for this side. Flip it over. I'm going to start at the very top of your flap. And go all the way down with it. Okay, just like that. Burnish it really well. Okay, and now you can go ahead and add your base page on there. Okay, so to add my base page, I am just going to go ahead, slide my page on, and I'm going to turn it this way. This is easier for me. I'm going to slide it all the way down, okay, and I'm going to use my picker to reach right up under there and grab and pull out the backing of that piece, okay, and you just go ahead and pull that off. and push down. So you'll flip it over and you do the exact same thing on this side. So I'm just going to reach in there and pull out the backing, and then stick it down just like that. So this makes our base page. Okay. So next you're going to need to cut a piece that measures 8 3/8 by 10, and we're just going to make a flip open for the front of your base page. So 8 3/8 by 10, and then you're going to take out your scoreboard again, and you are going to place your paper along the 8 3/8 inch side, and you're just going to use your bone folder and score at 1/2 inch just on the one side. Okay, then you're going to apply double-sided tape on this side of that flap, which I've already done, and you want to go ahead and fold on the score line and burnish. You don't have to add the double-sided tape first if you don't want to, so you can fold it and burnish it first and then add your double-sided tape right here. Okay, so once you add your double-sided tape, we want to add this flip open to the right side of our base page, so it'll open up like this. Okay, to the very inside. Okay, so for that I'm just going to peel off just a tiny piece like we've been doing of the backing. I'm going to line this up on the very edge of my base page, right at the top. And then I'm just going to pull the rest of that backing down and adhere this down, just like that. Okay, so now you have this. Okay, so for this part I am going to add a magnet to keep this closed, but I can do that in a minute. So we're going to flip this over, and on the back side of this one signature page we are going to add a pocket. Okay, and you can always pause the video to do your cutting and adding your tape and folding. I just did it like this to save a little bit of time. So I've already cut a piece of heavyweight cardstock that measures 9 by 4.5. I place it on my scoreboard and I score it at 1/2 inch on 3 sides. So it's going to be scored at 1/2 inch on this short side, 1/2 inch on this long side, and then turn and 1/2 inch on the other short side. So this creates a pocket. Okay, so after you score, you can go ahead and fold on your score lines. Okay, and then you can either add your double-sided tape first, which I've already done, and then you want to miter your corners, which right where those two corners connect, you just want to cut right across just like that. And on this side you're going to do the same thing. Okay, so this creates your pocket. And the pocket is going to go right on the back side of your signature page. Okay, so for the pocket I'm going to go ahead and pull off my backing. Okay, and I'm going to go ahead and bend this down like this. Okay, so this makes my pocket, and it's going to go right down on the very end of that page, just like that. And you use your bone folder to just get it really good. Okay, so this is what you should have. You have your flip on that side, and on this side you have your pocket page. Okay, so on the inside of the front and back cover, I'm going to tell you the measurements of your waterfall pieces, and you may want to go ahead and pause the video and go ahead and cut all your pieces, because you're going to need 12 pieces of heavyweight cardstock that measure 5 by 7 for the front inside cover, and you're going to need 12 pieces for the back inside cover. So a total of 24 pieces cut like this. And you'll take out your scoreboard, and you're going to place each piece on the 5-inch side, and you're just going to take your bone folder and you're going to score at 1/2 inch just down one side. Okay, and you're going to need to do that to each piece until you have 24 pieces like that. And you'll then fold on your score line and burnish. Add double-sided tape, or you can use liquid glue, but this is how you're going to make your pieces for the waterfall. Okay, so you need 24 pieces like that. So if you want to go ahead and pause the video, go ahead and cut all 24 pieces, add your double-sided tape, and then come back. Alright, so what I like to do to make it easier for me to line up my pieces on my waterfall is to cut a panel for my waterfall. Okay, so for this, I cut this panel at 7 by 10 1/4. Okay, and so what I will be doing is I will be folding all of my flaps on my waterfall pieces. I will pull up just a little bit of the backing on one side, and I'm just going to line this up at the very top of this page, this panel that I cut. Okay, and this will just help give you a guide to keep your waterfall pieces in line. Okay, so they fall over each other in line, and they're all pretty much lined up together. Okay, so I'm going to do a couple of more, and then you'll just need to keep going down the length of the panel until your panel is full. So you're just going to butt each one up against the first one you put down. So just like that. So when you flip it down, the pieces are in sync together. Okay, so they line up really well. So we're just going to keep doing this until we have our panels full. I just find this is the easier way to just make sure you can see, to make sure your panel is lined up. Okay, you can always flip them down to double check it, but with this panel being here, you're sure to get them pretty much even. So I'm going to finish this, and we'll be right back once we get all of our waterfall pieces down on our panel. Okay, so now we are finished adding our waterfall pieces to our panel, so we should have something that looks like this. So each panel will give you room for 25 photos, okay? So before we adhere our panel down, we want to decide if we want to add a closure or a ribbon to keep our waterfalls from, you know, flipping up like this. And I think I want to add a ribbon so that on both panels, and this will help keep our waterfalls in order, keep them down in order. Plus, when you add all your designer paper, it'll give it a little bit more weight so they won't flip up like that. But also, while I was adhering that, I decided I wanted to add one more flip to the front page on our flip out. So it flips out like this when you first open your book. Open it book like this. This one flips open. Well, I want to add one flip which measures 8.5 by 8. And you'll put it on your scoreboard on the 8-inch side and score it 1/2 inch and add double-sided tape. You're going to fold it, burnish it down, just pull off just a tad bit of your double-sided tape to line it up. So it's just going to be lined up on the corner edge, and you're going to try to center this. I want this flap centered right along the edge of that piece. Pull that down just like that, and we'll add magnets. So when you first open up your album, this page opens here, then this flap opens here, giving you way more space for more photos, and then this turns over to your pocket page. Okay, so let me find some ribbon, and then I'll come back and adhere my waterfall pieces, and that will basically end the tutorial for this album. Okay, so to add my ribbon, I'm just going to take my waterfall panel and turn it over. I'm going to add one piece of 1/2 inch double-sided tape right down the center of my panel. And I'm just going to use this to stick down my ribbon temporarily. Alright. And I found this ribbon. I love this ribbon. I got this ribbon. It's by Heidi Swap. I got it a long time ago, I believe, from Michaels. And so I am just going to kind of line up my ribbon along with my double-sided tape and just make sure I have enough ribbon that's going to keep my waterfall closed. And I do. So I'm just going to turn this over. I'm going to pull the backing off of my panel, the backing of the tape. And I'm just going to line my ribbon up exactly where my tape is. And this is just going to temporarily adhere my ribbon. Then I'm just going to turn my waterfall over and lightly, I'm not going to tie it tight, I'm just going to gently tie it like that, because I don't want to tie it tight to pull it like this, because we still have to adhere this down to our covers. So I'm going to go ahead and add the ribbon on the other piece. So I've already added my double-sided tape to the back of the other piece. And you can always wait to do this part if you're not sure what kind of ribbon. Find your ribbon first and then adhere these pieces in your front and back cover. But I love this ribbon, so I had an idea of this was the ribbon that I wanted to use. So, and I'm just going to lightly just tie it All right. Tie it a little bit tighter than that. And then I'm going to adhere this down into my book. So we're going to start with the inside back cover and take one of our waterfalls. And I'm just going to line my waterfall up with that inside panel sheet that we put down from the side to the bottom. And I'm just going to adhere it down just like that. And I'm going to use liquid glue to adhere this. So I'm just going to make sure I get it glued really well, because you definitely don't want this panel coming up. Okay. Using liquid glue will give you a little bit of wiggle room to make sure your panel is lined up to where you want it. So I'm just going to place it down. And go ahead and push it down. Now I can undo this and just run my hand along each one of these just to make sure that it is securely adhered to your book. And if you don't want the inside of your book white, if you want to add some designer cardstock in there first, you can do that and then put your panel down over it. And then you're ready to go ahead and tie this. And so this is that. And I'm going to go ahead and add the inside waterfall for the front cover, and we'll come back and add our magnets. Okay, so we have our waterfalls put in place. Now we're just going to open up our book and add some magnets. And I'm using these strong magnets that I purchased on Amazon. And I will try to leave a link to all the supplies that I'm using in the description box below. But these are some really strong little magnets. All right, so we have the first big flap that we put in the book. I am going to add a magnet right about here, I'm thinking. Yeah. So I'm just going to put a magnet down, and I'm using double-sided tape just to keep the magnet in place, because this is going to be covered with your designer papers and cardstock. So, all right. All right, so I'm going to open this flap up now and just drop a magnet, and it'll fall to where that first magnet that we put in. It'll fall right on top where we put the first magnet. So it goes like this, so it'll stay closed. So next, I'm going to place another magnet to keep this flap closed, but I'm going to place that right here, right about there. Okay. And like I said, these will be covered with your cardstock and designer paper. So then I'm going to close this flap over, and I'm going to drop another magnet. See? And it'll fall exactly where you need it to fall. And the negatives and positives will attach on the magnets. So, okay. So that is it. This is the pocket. And we can also cut one panel that will fit into this pocket inside of our base page. So I'll probably cut one panel, and our pages are about 8 by 10. So you might want to cut one panel that's about 1/8 of an inch under 8 by 10. So let's see, to slide in and out, and that's also another spot for pictures. Okay, yeah, guys, so I cut one panel that is 7 3/4 by 9 3/4, and that panel slides in here really easy with no problem. So just like that. So this is a spot you pull out, and you can use that as a large photo spot for the front and back. But yeah, guys, that is it for the tutorial. So let's go back and count the possibilities of photo space we have. Okay, so our waterfall pieces will hold 25 photos each. So that's 50 already. And if you want to make this one big photo, that's 51. You flip that open, that's 52, 53. Or if you want to make it into two photos, two smaller photos, that would be 53, 54. Close that, flip that open, 55, 56, 57, 58. That's already 58, photos that you can possibly add. You pull this out if you want to put 59, 60, and then on the back 61, 62. And then you could also stick photos in your pocket here, or journaling cards, or whatever. So you got at least, I would say, 54 to 60 something photos can fit in here. More depending on if you make photo booklets to put in your pocket. So just a great little mini album. And again, you only have one signature page, but it's plenty of photo space for that one signature page. Anyway, guys, I hope you liked this video. If you did, please give me a thumbs up. If you have any questions, leave comments below, and I will try to make sure I answer those for you guys. If you're not subscribed, click the link below to subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye.